Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 74.
Middle Tennessee Electric's virtual annual meeting is Saturday, August 16th at 2 p.m. Register now to be entered for prizes, submit questions, and vote for officers at MTE or by phone. More information at mte.com/annual meeting.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning. This is Bill Krause on the weekly WGNS Radio Roundtable Thursday morning edition. And it's a beautiful morning this morning, like every morning. Every morning to wake up, no matter what the weather may be, it's a beautiful morning. And to start off this beautiful morning, we have a gentleman who is a great inspiration, major impact on Rutherford County as well as our neighboring counties, and just a fine, fine gentleman, the president of Motlow State Community College, Dr. Michael Torrance. Michael, welcome aboard.
So good to see you this morning, Bill. Thank you.
And how far did you drive from?
Oh, well, this morning I was in two other places within our service area to get here. So
at the same time?
At the same time.
Well, I knew you would be a few minutes late. Thank you. And thank you, Brian, for taking up the time. Always like to start the first question. Just about ready to embark into the fall semester 2025. How's enrollment looking? And that's always a criteria of how education is. Are people coming back to school?
It's good. We look like we're, at the latest count, we're up just over 2.5–3%
from last 24-25 year.
Right. And there are differing numbers that everyone looks at. They're the Tennessee Board of Regents numbers, the institutional numbers. We're paying close attention to what Dr. Johnson, Berlinda Johnson and her team have been diligently working with and enrolling people like gangbusters. On average, 20% of our total enrollment occurs in the month of August. So
wow.
After July.
Is that called procrastination?
That's called, I think that I really like the beach in summertime. I want to have some fun.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I can postpone
some things. But it's good. It's good. It's good.
Are you seeing the demographics change? Is it still the traditional out of high school into community college, or a lot of people returning to school work-related, a lot of people returning? It's a new event, new activity.
It's still a high percentage of traditional age students. That is our largest population still today. However, we do see, with some adjustments to the market, changing of needs and changing of skills. Motlow State Community College and our Tennessee Board of Regents system is the place of choice for people to come and knock out things within a year, career in a year programs, and then move through certification processes that can get them the skills they need to go directly into the job market.
Plus, the fact is, you look at costs in the traditional 4-year, not only the private and nonprofit, but the public university. It costs to go to school, and community college is a way to at least save a few dollars the first 2 years.
Right. Inflation impacts everything. I think that we all have had the conversation around eggs at one point, but we're
they always say that's no yolk. Sorry about that.
No, that's a good one. I'm taking that one. I may use that Monday at convocation. But the idea of cost, we are still, in my humble opinion, the most cost-effective option within the higher education landscape within the Tennessee region. Murfreesboro having Motlow State as its college, community college, and then MTSU and TCAT Murfreesboro and Smyrna. That system or ecosystem continues to serve this population, this county very well because of the continued growth. It's still growing.
But you also, besides growing, you're continually responding to the changing needs of the employment field, your robotic program, etc. You're changing to the wants of people. I guess they get on my old soapbox and say the relationship between on-ground and online classes.
Yes, sir.
Ever since COVID, and now we're getting a few years between COVID and the current year, are we seeing still the desire to go online versus on-ground?
There is a desire to leverage instructional modality. So there I am old school as well. I do believe, as much as I love technology, use it, talk about it, and try to leverage it to the best of our ability for instruction and other things at the institution, at the college. Being face-to-face, the Socratic method, for me, the way that I learned, is still the most impactful, because I think that the kind of relationships that you develop going face-to-face, meeting your professors, whether they be adjunct or full professors, is life-changing, begging questions that otherwise online have a different kind of connotation, deconnotation, and context. It's a different conversation had we done this via me driving in my car versus coming in to sit in the studio with you. And just as every space is a teaching landscape, the idea that a person can sit with the person or persons who are going to provide them with questions that challenge their perspective and give them space to share opinions that differ from other classmates and people that they will come across from different walks of life. There's nothing like it.
Plus, the fact is, it does depend on the topic itself. If you're teaching a topic that is basically fact, basically information, basically technique, basically strategies, you may be able to, I hate to use the term get away with it, but may be able to better serve online. But if you're in a topic that requires critical thinking, requires a great amount of participation, teaching political science, I'm not so sure I can get the same chemistry going on a Zoom class as I can face-to-face. Not that they're going to start fighting each other based upon difference of opinion, but there's a chemistry that you like to develop.
Yes, and I like to argue for the value proposition. The value proposition of getting to know someone through their works and getting to know someone through their attitude, their contributions in a classroom setting, and then the je ne sais quoi that happens when you have a group of people.
How do you spell that?
I do not know, but I can say it.
yes.
The group of people that you spend time with in a classroom setting, whether it be in a rectangular or square box, or one of my favorite, when I see communications professors, liberal arts professors, and others take students outside to literally ground their perspectives and theories and ideas around being in nature, having these conversations that once were taught everywhere, not just we need to go to a building and we need to do it this way. Varying, the winds of change impact you when you sit in them. Yeah.
Now, you've been very involved also keeping tabs on the trends and changes in the community college, actually the entire college field nationwide. Are you able to predict any changes of the overall picture of education? Are we seeing some sharp changes to the left, to the right, straight ahead, to reverse?
That's a great question. And the way I'll start with it is I hope everyone laughs when I say it. What I can predict in terms of change is change. Okay, so it will change. One of the aspects that everyone continues to discuss is around policy and governance and framing the use of what we could look at as advantaging software platforms, AI. Right, so we know that is an ongoing dialogue all across the education landscape in higher education across the nation. Locally, we're thankful that the governor has put together a group over the last couple of years who is going to deliver a AI review or research white paper sometime in December for the upcoming Tennessee General Assembly, and our General Assembly members will review that and work with all of us and determine how best to frame some policy around that. So we're looking forward to that taking place. The Tennessee Board of Regents, led by Chancellor Flora Tidings, we have already framed a policy around AI that's general and broad enough to allow our institutions, both technical colleges and community colleges, space to use it as necessary, not just at will, but the idea that we know that our students are going to leverage the platform, and at the very least, whether we choose to indoctrinate it and assimilate it and acculturate it at our institutions in the curriculum, we need to be aware of what's out there so that we can provide do's and don'ts And for the academic freedom of the professoriate, what will I accept and what will I not accept in terms of use or non-use of this AI platform? So that's one area. I would say that another one is around funding, resource allocation. The more we use online and leverage online, there's still a need for what I like to call the society of learners, and I think that's what we are in higher education. There are still spaces where we'd like to play pickleball,
yes,
where we'd like to see soccer, women's and men's soccer.
Are you going to see it virtual?
But do we
see virtual soccer?
Right. But do we want to do that, or do we?
I know.
Do we want to build spaces and scapes that build not just coalition building, but community building? So the idea that we find ourselves balancing face-to-face instruction, online instruction, various modalities, but that need to be around each other. And it may be extracurricular, but extracurricular is not just sport. It's also what kind of clubs need to gather together to play things like Dungeons and Dragons that I see students play, and other platforms. But a balance between all of that, and I think that's something that'll continue to be ongoing. I don't imagine a world where we will simply all be behind computers at all given points of all of our given days. I think that we'll see a continued mixture, and striking that balance is something that we're all working towards.
On a very similar note, do you see the community colleges operating under the recent state law with the K through 12 on cell phones?
Probably not.
Good.
Probably not.
But you still have to say, put the toys away, please.
Yeah, you do have to frame that in your rules and guidelines of your course. But the fact of the matter is that we know that the computers in our pockets also serve as tools to research and leverage.
Exactly.
And our professors at Motlow State, whether they choose to allow students to use them at varying degrees or not, they are tools for education. If you show students, here's an application I need you to have, we're going to use this to enhance our course. It's not to take the place of anything that we're teaching, but it could enhance your course. Developmentally, obviously when you're 18, 19 as a freshman versus when you're 14, 15, 16 in the K-12 setting, secondary setting, your development is a little bit different. So not a lot of change between that senior and that freshman, but enough that they recognize that this is serious business. You're preparing for life and employment, and understanding the rounded rules and guidelines that can keep you employed versus, okay, if you aren't going to respect the space that we're in, maybe this isn't a space that you're ready to be in.
Can I give a personal admission? You know, there are times as I'm talking in class that I may forget something.
Right.
May forget a date or place. Right. So rather than, boys and girls, no, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, not boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, will you please check up this and verify this information for me? Yeah. And there they go, beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
And they're contributing to the source of information.
Yeah, and also gives them some deeper connection to the content.
They're buying into the
right. And
program.
I'm not gonna try to fool the public and say that when we do that, they don't check a few personal messages or maybe scroll or doom scroll a little bit, but the hyperactivity of being engaged in multiple ways while learning, I think that's how most of us learn anyway.
One of the interesting changes, using the word you used a few moments ago, is what does the employment market in this society, this nation, this world need ahead? And we still look at the college as preparing for the professional, preparing for the academic, and the old concept of trade schools has kind of been dusted off the shelf, and the need for electricians and plumbers and technicians, etc., seems to be greater and greater and greater. Is the community college, specifically Motlow, attempting to meet the new demands, increased demands of training and educating a whole new workforce?
I'd like to think of the Motlow organization as a learning platform scape that is like a mountain. And we're here. We've been here since 1969 within this region, and we serve to serve. And the idea that we have to adjust from blue collar skills to white collar skills to durable skills now that we're hearing about that. We've always done that. And the changing monikers or terms associated with what the marketplace needs, business and industry needs, supporting our local LEAs, making sure that we're in alignment with strategic plans from the Tennessee Higher Education Commission, et cetera, et cetera. We have always done that. What we see ourselves moving into is assisting in the further framing of the impact of the workforce development cadre. How do we ensure that the choice of cell phones or no cell phones, AI or no AI, a really focused, dedicated alignment with STEM? Is it going to be focused on the durable skills associated with, as you aforementioned, HVAC, electricians, nuclear, et cetera, that are working on energy, sustainable processes and opportunities that are creeping up, cyber, the importance of the information or the Internet of everything or Internet of things. We have always been ready. Our faculty continue to learn and train and teach themselves, professionally develop themselves. And as we look for those that we add, we're not just looking for people who are skilled. And this is probably what I think is one of the separators for our institution. We also talk about the importance of being human.
Yes.
And
have a heart.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
a brain.
Absolutely. And I would go so far as to say public a soul. The idea of, and I've said this before, how does the vertical integration of everything impact the human condition? Formerly I've spoken about technology because it's one of the great dividers, not necessarily haves and have-nots, but to the degree, do you have the free version now, or do you have the version that you can actually afford that gives you the additional bells and whistles? Motlow State continues to be prepared. We continue to adjust, but we are making these decisions collectively, and the dialogue is not contentious, but it is one that we want dissent. We want what some folks would say would be curmudgeonly. We want people who want to buy in. We want the entire enchilada, so to speak, so that we can make the best informed decisions. And one of the things that we did in the spring, Bill, was to put out an AI survey to see where we were as an institution so that we can determine where we need to go. These are platforms that we have to support. The marketplace within the state of Tennessee, specifically southern middle Tennessee and north of us where we're tangentially connected, it is advanced manufacturing, it is robotics, it is computer information systems, it is business and industry associated with economics and finance,
and
real estate.
Healthcare.
And lastly,
absolutely.
One of the bigger ones, healthcare. You go up the street from here, you'll see complex multiplexes of different kinds of offices to take care of all kinds of ailments to keep us alive and keep us moving. So that high five of ecosystem, something that the Chamber continues to support within this region specifically, and is a beacon nationally. So thanks to the members of the Rutherford Chamber of Commerce too for all the work they do in supporting us.
It's interesting when we mention healthcare. That is expanding not only a number of beds in hospitals, a number of surgeries, or a number of preventive efforts. A whole field of caregivers has grown in recent years. And personally, I'm in that opportunity to deal with caregivers from a family standpoint. And the question becomes, it's a whole new field of a person who will devote, whether it's full-time or whether it's 24/7, to assisting a patient at home, keeping them at home. And the strategies and techniques to learn to be not only a skillful caregiver, but one who has the motivation, one who has the care identified with their name, seems to be such a huge area. As the population gets older, the demand and need for caregivers, keeping people at home as long as they can stay at home, is a societal objective.
Yeah, the development within our nursing or health sciences programs at the college at Motlow State are specifically geared towards making sure that we are anticipating some gaps. We're paying attention to trends such as how many people are above the retirement age, and then when you forecast, and not predicting, but when you forecast, okay, if this many people are moving in, and this many of those persons are above the retirement age, what types of services will they need? Something as simple as massage.
Yes.
Something as simple as in-home care, but not overnight care. But the idea that people need to be taken care of. And that gets back to our focus of the humane component of everything that we're doing. We don't want to attempt to escape or avoid the important conversations that happen as we're talking about the use of various platforms, the use of framing and developing policy and government striations that support populations, because we're going to keep living longer. That's not going to change. And our idea of what does it mean to be a community college? What should we offer to make sure that there are opportunities for folks who have lived a life, retired from an industry? How else can you contribute? All the best wisdom that I get is from folks who have already done the things that I'm thinking of attempting to do in various ways. So there's a great opportunity to, when people retire, you talk about brain drain from an organization. How do we tap into that and use that not to make the same mistakes that that preceded us?
I've told the story before, and you've heard the story, and it's certainly one of the million stories that come out of Motlow in terms that it's not just a campus with a building, it's not just equipment, it's people with hearts and people with hopes. And I always remember the story of a young lady in Murfreesboro who had recently lost her husband after 60 years of marriage, and she was certainly experiencing significant grief and staying at home the entire time, etc. And her family was concerned about her, and they said, you ought to take a class at Motlow. Right. And this sweet lady who was in her early 80s enrolled in Motlow. The admissions people said, you ought to take Dr. Krause. So I had the chance of taking her under my wing. She was very shy, very reserved. And to make a long story short, not only did she take the class, she walked your graduation ceremony a couple years later. I'm not sure what she's doing now, but maybe she's finishing up in her bachelor's.
We hope so.
And yet, when you think, and when you get to have lived in this world as long as I have, the rarity of seeing people in their 90s when I was growing up was like seeing a dinosaur come alive. Today, the people in their 90s who are active, who are interested, who are motivated is significant. So it isn't just an old person at age 65. In fact, we ultimately will be looking at the time, what is the official retirement age, and is there a point of gradual phasing out of full-time, phasing into alternative, what have you. It's the entire phase in life, because somebody at 65 still has 25 years to a great degree of life ahead of them.
So I hope that when I get there, I hope to get there.
I know you will.
And when I get there, I envision attempting to paint, maybe, to sculpt, to do some things with my hands that this job doesn't allow me to do. And probably I'm going to have not green thumbs, but those are the kinds of things that, going back to some very, very, what I would say, basic, rooted in American culture, what it means to be a Southerner. Perhaps I'll grow some things. Those are some things that I look forward to at a much later date. I still got 20 years to go. You know what stands on my mind? The first time I met you, shortly after you joined Motlow, coming down from volunteer, and we were at a luncheon, and you were sitting at the table, and you talked about the need to convert old freight train cars for housing. Yes. And I've been very much involved in housing all my life, and I thought, wow, what are we doing with the old freight cars? And I remember your passion of here's taking something and to be able to convert it to meet a need. You're talking about the homeless, perhaps a homeless community of old freight cars put together, refined, redefined, reestablished, and so forth. You just recently finished your 5 years with Motlow, if I'm not mistaken. Going into year 8. I apologize. No, don't apologize.
Wow.
I like the feeling that you think I'm new.
I'm thinking
great.
that, because I can say this on the air, I can say this to you directly, I can say this to anybody who will listen to. You are one of the most motivational, encouraging, and certainly human leaders that I have dealt with in so many, many years.
Thank you.
And your humanism comes through when you visit a campus like Smyrna, and you just walk through the campus, you walk into a classroom, and a lot of the students may not know you, and I said, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give a big welcome to our wonderful president. But give us a preview, if you might, of what you're going to say as part of your motivation this next week at the annual convocation.
Sure. Oftentimes, people or leaders make determinations about where an organization should go and how it should get there. Our goal has been constant conversation and the idea of observation. So when I provided themes over the last 6-7 years or so, it's really based off of observation over the course of the year and various conversations that I've had with students, community members, employees. This year, we're going to have a conversation rooted in enduring, and the idea of building on constant connection, communication, authorship, as we talked about last year. I'm excited to share some things that some of our faculty have written that will be out and published. These are all really good things, but the endurance of success. And I don't think people talk about that often.
No, they don't. No, and they should.
The idea that success isn't something that simply is shaped and occurs. It's a lot of deep work that takes place when no one's looking, no one's listening, no one's serving you with platitudes. It is really about the focus and purpose of your whys, that can be plural, or your intentions. But for us, the endurance of success and the impact that our success has. So I'll share a little bit that we will look at the arc of our institution since May 1st, 2018, my first day, to now, and what that has looked like, and to include the many impact that didn't impact the way that I expected it to, but it did ripple, and it may have adjusted pathways that have gotten us to where we are. I'm happy to say that we have such a large cadre of faculty, staff, admin, and executives who've completed terminal degrees, master's degrees, baccalaureate degrees, associate degrees, and certifications that have helped propel them to assist and support their families better. And they can sit up further and more straight because they are a part of the academy. So the endurance of success is going to be the theme for this coming year.
8 years this last May Day. That can be a happy May Day, or May Day means trouble. Bring in Michael. It's May Day. What do you see the next 8 years? Okay. Change is inevitable.
Absolutely change, but growth. Our upcoming master plan that all higher education institutions do periodically, strategic planning, are just words if they are not supported organizationally, and I mean that wholly. But the organization in itself is not independent of its surrounding areas. It's interdependent. So our growth may not be in the terms of most people's defining growth. I continue to say that I hope that we get to the 10,000 student mark. I have this aspiration of 10,000 students at our institution, but the growth will be tied to better and deeper relationships with existing and new relationships with those that we haven't connected with. The growth will take place with better supporting and growing opportunities for young men and young women who want to transition to collegiate athletics. We're looking to add cross country, golf, as well as some other sports in 26. And young people and those who may be coming out of the military at 25 or 30, coming back to potentially participate in that type of club atmosphere, sports, is another way for them to, really buy in and be further motivated to complete academic pathways. we're trying to make sure that we provide as many people what they need to be successful. We know that, I hear this often, we can't be everything to everyone, but we can provide snippets of quite a bit for the entirety of our service area. So growth in looking at the new buildings that potentially will pop up out of the ground over in Smyrna, in conjunction with all of the 4,200 and some odd apartments, houses,
just a block away,
have just gone up. Not overnight, but seemingly overnight. If you haven't been over to the Smyrna campus in a while, and then I'm really interested in the impact of the open air shopping area that will be adjacent to the campus, and what that will mean for student life, what that will mean for employee life, in terms of having that type of access to enjoy amenities associated with being at the institution. So personally, I don't know if people will gravitate or get this. Unless you know me, you may not get it, but I want to continue to get better. And that betterment happens because of the men and women that I get to work with, and that choose to come to work with me as the figurehead, the CEO, president of the organization, but also, most importantly, as a colleague. And we are,
and a friend.
Yeah, and a friend. Absolutely, absolutely. That component is as important as anything else. That you've built a level of trust that deepens over the years when you continue the themes and the points of take care of yourself first, because if you're not healthy and happy, you can't help us. Your family is before everything, and then everything falls in place. So as long as we have those things as a focus, we can continue to serve each other, serve our students, serve our partners, and continue to endure with success.
When the interesting thing when you talk about buildings and growth, I always look at the Smyrna campus. And when I first came there, we had just left the reserve base, and we had a brand new one-story building in Smyrna. And then a few years later, we had a new two-story building in Smyrna. And then add a few more years later, we had a three-story building in Smyrna. Is the next one going to be a four-story?
The next one will be purposefully built. Okay. I don't know that it'll be 4 stories, but it will meet broader needs that we have for our student population, and hopefully draw in more opportunities for people who have an entrepreneurial spirit with workforce development and training, and assist with some of those nuances that are associated with emerging spaces that could be durable skill centric, or people are working from all over the place remotely now. How do we make sure that we provide that type of development and training for those taking those kinds of jobs? Yeah.
It's interesting. I always thought that the 4th-story building would be the water tower, which has just been repainted, with Motlow sharing the exterior notice with MTSU.
Yeah. Well, a great partner, Dr. Sidney McPhee and team, have always embraced Motlow. And on my very first day, or second day at Motlow as an employee, we did our first articulation agreement with him on our Smyrna campus in the Mary Lou Apple building. So this is a shout out of support for MTSU and being a great partner. We will continue to be their #1 transfer institution, sending our students to them, and look for other ways to provide betterment for the citizens of Rutherford County and surrounding areas.
Do you see the area of criminal justice? You just notice on the recruitment for the federal officers of 100,000 applicants for 10,000 positions. Do you see, I know MTSU certainly is in criminal justice, but do you see an increase in criminal justice education and retraining out of the Motlow campus?
Yes. We've just recently seen Dr. Lucy Craig, who was a longtime stellar and impactful member of our faculty cadre, retire to go on and do other things, and hopefully to participate as she will with us at the institution. But the sociology, criminal justice areas is an area of need and emphasis. Think about all of the LEAs, higher education institutions, that may not be in close proximity to a large enough response team. We have emergency responders. Thank you to Houston Austin at our institution. We have a ecosystem of support, but every institution, based on the things that have been happening over the last several years, needs a presence. And I think that we can serve a great need by providing a pathway for people to be able to support and protect. I know it's serve and protect, but to support and protect people in educational platforms.
We'll be right back. We're having a wonderful visit with a gentleman who is not only a leader, but an academic and educational inspiration to his faculty, his students, his staff, and the overall community, Dr. Michael Torrance. Stand by. We'll be right back.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
Get ready for an unforgettable night and support First Shot. Autumn at the Alley is coming to Oakland's Mansion Tuesday, September 24th from 6 to 9 p.m. Sip on fine bourbon, wine, and spirits, enjoy premium cigars, and feast on incredible food from the Alley on Main, all while enjoying live music under the stars. Proceeds benefit First Shot's Academic All-Stars and Send the Kid to Camp programs. Find out more on their Facebook page and through Eventbrite, Autumn at the Alley, September 24th.
Premier 6 Theater on Broad in Jackson Heights.
Let's all go to the movies.
Check out what's showing at murfreesboromovies.com. Popcorn popped fresh daily.
Movies at the good old premises.
Premier 6 on Broad in Jackson Heights.
Let's go.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Let's go.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Thursday morning edition of the WGNS Radio Roundtable. And this morning we have a wonderful leader, certainly an inspiration to not only the educational community of our county, but the general nearby counties, Dr. Michael Torrance, president of Montville State, 8 years, you know. I don't know what, I think maybe it was the last time you were here and you were just 5 years, and no, you've been here since, of course. Let's talk about one of the many reach outs that Montville has, like a lot of community colleges, is the dual enrollment.
Yes.
And I do a lot of the dual enrollment education, have a great feeling for it in terms of the fact that it's inspiring the younger person, the pre-college person, to suddenly put college in their career. Do you want to describe it and define?
Sure. Dual enrollment is an opportunity for anyone who's academically prepared for the rigors of post-secondary education. They're not always just simply high flyers and honor students. They may be socially ready for that experience as well. At the Smyrna campus, obviously, we have the middle college, and it was started initially in conjunction with Rutherford County Schools, Dr. Jimmy Sullivan, as well as Dr. Theowana Hatcher co-led making this happen at our institution, where we have dozens of their students on campus. Additionally, it's grown over the last several years to include other high schools within the Rutherford County area. These students are taking their general education courses, but also getting prepared for an associate's degree in particular areas that will lead them to their baccalaureate degrees at a later date. What I love about this is that we've seen students go to schools that are Ivy inspired, such as Harvard and others, as well as we've seen students choose to take advantage of the educational opportunities right here in the state of Tennessee, specifically Middle Tennessee State University. So we have a broad chasm of in between Harvard and MTSU, and I'm not talking about college rankings, I'm talking what's best for families. This has been and will continue to be a great way to bridge the gap and provide access to cost-effective educational opportunity for Rutherford County students. We are looking at calling or changing the name, rebranding, because dual enrollment will continue to be dual enrollment, but it's a collegiate experience that we're providing to students, and it's spreading like wildfire throughout the other 10 counties that we serve within Tennessee, and actually adjacent in the 3 counties that we serve in northern Alabama. So Miss Sally Pack, under her leadership, we've seen it grow to one of the largest populations in the state of Tennessee. It serves and provides almost just over a third of our total enrollment.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that high.
Yeah, that's 3, 4, 5 people actually doing that work. And it's not to discount or discredit any of the work happening across the college in the enrollment management area, but it's a testament to the importance of relationships with the high school guidance counselors, connecting with the school administrations, and then everybody's seeing the importance of communicating the impact that it can have for young people. We're really excited about continued growth and mapping opportunities for young people at earlier stages. The developmental, Maslow's hierarchy of need, and then other educational development platforms, when you think about how does a young person develop today, it's evolved. So they are, again, academically and technologically astute, and we're helping them mature in a space so they can move on and do the things that they dream to do.
That's fantastic. The only I won't call it a criticism.
Oh, it can be a criticism.
No. The only critique I will give is that students may get their AA degree completing the program the week before they get their high school diploma.
Right.
And it's when I was with the students here, they said, well, it's somewhat anticlimactic to have your AA degree in your pocket. Now you're going back to your high school to get a high school diploma. I said, well, and then I have asked them, I said, do you feel less like a senior in high school and more like a college freshman or college sophomore? And they do. Now, do they miss the senior life, the senior living that high schools have always provided? Not to a degree that it's impacting and affecting them. But the beauty is that they are thinking about the future.
Yes.
That's the one thing I see, that previously when they're in high school, they may be thinking the year ahead. Now in the dual enrollment, they are thinking about life ahead of them. Maybe not 60 years ahead, but 5 to 10 years ahead.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really a futuristic objective.
And they have the chance to be in courses, in clubs, and participate in conversations that give them a little bit of future proofing. The expectation that when it's due, it's due. Here's the guidelines and expectations of a course. And I really believe that it helps them transform. We talk about transformative education. Dual enrollment is one of those. And we're doing it not only at Motlow State, but the impact that it's had in the technical colleges as well is going to provide the workforce necessary, and then hopefully transition to us so we pick up those students that finished at a TCAT will choose Motlow State for the additional types of competencies and skills that they need to run their own businesses or to ascend within the businesses that they choose to work in. So the idea that young people are getting access earlier. They get that associate's degree prior to the high school diploma. I know I do apologize if they do feel a little bit anticlimactic.
It's only a light comment.
Yeah, but it's an observation, and the other component of it is the socialization, which is really important for all learners, but for young people in a world where lots of things have to do with screen time. I really don't want them to miss the prom, the Friday night football games, but I also want them to be participatory in our soccer, basketball, baseball, softball, sports as well, in terms of building up what it means to be a part of a society, a culture, and an institution such as ours.
You know, it's interesting. I always remember a comment from a first-year student. I think it was the first or second day that he was in class. He said, "You know what's different about Montlow than it is at Laverne High School? I don't need a hall pass to go to the bathroom." And I thought, well, you know, you're now independent. You're now being treated as a young adult, so you don't need a hall pass to go to the bathroom. One of the things I noted recently, and I think it really epitomizes who Montlow is. You recently had a observance of length of time of employees, longevity. And I was looking at the number of people who have been with Montlow 30, even 40 years. Yes. And, and these folks came as Montlow was in a totally different stage of its development. There's an expression that would be so appropriate to Montlow as it is to most public agencies. You're very proud of your past, yet very confident of your future.
Yes.
And I think that epitomizes of who and what Montlow is. We take a look at the Smyrna campus, which is what I'm more familiar with, although I do have to say, for those of you who have never been down to the main campus in Tullahoma, I have to say this without reservation, that has got to be one of the most beautiful campuses anywhere in the United States of any school, community college, four-year grad, etc.
I totally agree.
It's a gorgeous campus. You know, and you probably will remember this about a year and a half ago. I was sitting at the table by the library at Montlow, and a young lady came in and she says, "Is this Montlow State?" I said, "Yes, it is." She said, I was driving down I-24. I live in the Knoxville area, and I was driving down and I saw the Montlow Community College sign, so I decided to turn off and see the community college. And I said, "Well, for what reason?" She says, "Well, my maiden name was Montlow."
Wow.
And she was part of the family and had never, believe it or not, never been on any community college campus ever since it was, the original land was dedicated to the college. 140 some acres, if I remember right.
182.
182. Okay. See, I'm not always good on dates. You know, the 8-year and the 5-year. And she was, and I always remember that Gary took on a walk-by-walk tour of the campus and so forth, and became a rather intriguing experience. If you had a magic wand, and of course funding is so key, but if you had a magic wand to make Montlow, and it is one of the top community colleges, not only in this state, but nationwide, but to make it the college, and resources were not necessarily a limitation, what might you do?
I'd start with the past and move forward. I'm fortunate to have all of the presidents except for one who are still living, and I would emeritize all of them and have a council, so to speak. The changes and adaptations that we've made, although often talked and thought about as technological or digital, but the baselines of making sure that policy and governance, not making mistakes that have a historical context, I'd love to emeritize them all and be able to pull them in to conversations so that I could pull from their wisdom and say, well, how did you get that accomplished? What was your approach and strategy? Who needed to be at the table? And, in the state of Tennessee, we are very familial in our subsequent counties. So the idea of knowing who to grab at the table, who's moved in to assist and support growth and benefit of public good, that's one thing. Secondly, I do the same thing with faculty. I think that it's important to have a cadre of folks that can share how to advance the institution, advance the teaching and learning motifs, and have input on those types of approaches that are necessary for us to continue to grow. And I would ask for a council of development. And the development isn't about simply building a building or adding more stuff.
Go to the foundation, support the foundation.
Yeah, exactly. It's how do we help our employees be better, because we need to be our best to serve all those that we serve. So I know that's probably not a...
No, it truly is.
Yeah.
My last comment before we say farewell is the fact of such...
We have to leave?
Oh, well, Brian, do you need a guest for your second hour? We need, and I know it's done, but it needs to be done even on a greater scale, because I see this with the college success class and the need to involve parents and grandparents, not only in the question of financial planning for a child going to college, but how a student makes choices. And it isn't just the choice of the reputation of the school. I will ask students, for example, you've gone to a small high school, you're going to a community college that is relatively small, you don't have a problem finding a place to park, right. Small classes, personal contact. When you make a choice to go to your four-year university, are you picking a small impersonal, or you're picking a large university where you're part of 30,000 people? And the second and most important is when you pick a college and university outside the geographical area, is that where potentially you might want to live after you graduate?
Absolutely.
Because your network and your connections, your relationships for prospective jobs upon graduation become so significant with internships and part-time jobs in that new community you're in. So if you're saying, well, I'd like to go to University of Montana, I just never been to the beauty of fish and hunting and so forth. Well, is it Helena or Butte? Is that where you want to live in the winter and so forth? No, I didn't think about it. Well, we certainly have, again, greatly appreciated having you with us as this visit to WGNS. Keep up the super work. Have you back again with an update. And you may, if you ever want to bring some of your guests, do a shout out to that right arm of yours.
I'd like to give a shout out to Miss Elisa Roebuck, who makes my life work between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., and also Miss Brenda Cannon, who makes my life work during the same time frame, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. In addition, come check us out. Motlow is enrolling currently through the end of the month. We look forward to serving all those who come across our threshold. New programs like distilling, new programs that are affixed and tied to hospitality are coming, and we're looking forward to continue to serve and be a linchpin for transfer as well as employment within the Southern Middle Tennessee region, but specifically Rutherford County. Thank you.
Dr. Michael Torrance, President, Motlow State University. How many campuses now?
Well, it's 8.
8, absolutely.
It's 8. We picked up some space with aviation simulated flight training in Bedford County, and we're going to expand that program in White County, and we're looking to do the same thing here in Rutherford. So we're picking up more space because it's needed and warranted, and we need all the bodies we can get to come and take advantage of the programs that our men and women are teaching and training people on. Keep up the great, great job. We're proud of you. We're pleased with you, and we're most grateful to you. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate you. Bye now. Bye-bye.
Subscribe to Big G TV. Local content that